Hello all, Tanea here with TPK Feng Shui and Design. Today I want to talk about what you want to pass along to your kids. I'm not talking about this stuff, the heirlooms, even though I do talk about your things quite often. I'm talking about the habits, the message, the state of mind that you pass along to your kids, how they see you act. I think about this a lot because I have two children who take a lot of their cues from me, just like yours do. When I talk about the habits that you pass along to your kids, I mean that the way you treat your things. We all live in this age where stuff comes into your life constantly. It's hard to keep up with it. It's hard to know what to do with it all. But having a hard time parting with this stuff, keeping most of it and continually bringing in more is a habit. It's a state of mind. Your children see your every move, which means you are passing along that habit to your children. So it's no wonder that they also have a really hard time parting with their things, often things that are broken and old and have outlived their usefulness. We have a habit of keeping way more than we can ever appreciate. We also have a habit of storing things away for a rainy day. I know because I have had that habit most of my life. We like to keep our things, many of us, for sentimental reasons or because we might need them. My study of feng shui has taught me, years ago that when your space is too full, there's not room for new opportunities to come your way. When you keep the things that you haven't used for years because you might need them, you're telling your future self that you will not be supported, and that's the reality you create for yourself. So, what message are we passing along to our kids about stuff? Most of us pass these messages on daily without even realizing it. Almost every kid I know has way more toys than he or she knows what to do with. Our actions, by allowing our children's spaces to be so full and our spaces to be so full, we are telling our kids that stuff is plentiful and not very valuable. Both true, ironically, this day and age. Or we might teach our kids that stuff is expensive. You should take really good care of it, along with all 250 of your other toys, right? That's confusing. How can any child, any human being, take care of that much stuff? I mean, really take care. I started thinking about this more thoroughly the first time I read Kim John Payne's book called Simplicity Parenting about 5 years ago. Many of you have probably heard of it or read it or seen him talk. He's incredibly inspirational. Don't miss your chance to see him should it arise. He's done a lot of research on kids of all ages, and it turns out that it's really stressful for kids and for grown-ups, I would argue, but especially for kids, to live in an environment that is too full with all the latest toys that vie for their attention. They don't have control over their spaces. They will ask you for all the latest, greatest toys that their friends have, but you are the one who has control over their space up until a certain age, right? Those toys, they are designed to make your child notice them in the store, in an ad, at their friends' houses. They are bright, obnoxious, loud, colorful. All of those factors that make your kids want those things in the moment, those are the reasons that their rooms are stressful to them. So stressful, in fact, that Kim John Payne noticed that kids in middle class homes, normal kind of everyday homes, are expressing signs of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, except the trauma is not in the past, it's in their everyday environment. Now, I don't mean to be a downer, but it's important to be aware of the messages that we are sending our children, often subconsciously, by filling our spaces and their spaces up with too much stuff. Now, what about your state of mind? What messages do you send your kids due to the state of mind you are in? For me, my biggest parenting challenge is patience. I come from a long line of fiery, determined, stubborn people. God bless them. My first instinct, both learned and innate, is to react. I'm sure a lot of you out there feel the same way. My husband, from before we began dating, was known for his pause, the time he would take to consider the appropriate response before responding. That is a trait I have been working on acquiring for a long time. It doesn't come naturally to me like it does to him. It's hard to have patience when you get home after a long day and the house is overwhelming, you're exhausted, and you've got to figure out what to put on the table for dinner in an hour, right? And so I would ask you, is your stuff really making you happy? It's a question that didn't even occur to me for much of my adult life. I would know that some things were not making me happy and I would get rid of those things, but is all of my stuff, all of it, making me happy? When your stuff is negatively impacting the state of your mind, your ability to be patient with your family, with your loved ones, when it's affecting that patience, that's where I draw the line now. Some of my stuff makes me really happy, but it was hard to appreciate those things when all the spaces in between the happiness were filled up with clutter, with the stuff that weighs you down. And I didn't have an abnormal amount of stuff, right? Just in your normal home, there's so much stuff filling up the space in between the things that do make you happy. And so I invite you to think a little more carefully about your things. It's hard to know where to start. It's hard to know how to proceed, what to do with all the stuff. But I make that easy for you in a course that I run called Clear Your Space, Clear Your Mind. It's 10 weeks, it's an online format, and I take you from that overwhelm and exhaustion, that lack of time, that distracted state of mind, to a place where you can enjoy your home and it feels spacious. Both your home and your life feel more spacious, where you feel more energized and inspired by surrounding yourself only by your joy, where your life has more time and more focus. It's a really rewarding process, but it's one that takes effort and time. I find that the hardest part of walking that path alone is that your stuff brings up all the stories about your past, that often subconsciously, those stories you continue to tell yourself in the future, in the present, even though those stories aren't true. The ego is really comfortable right where you are, right? Its goal is to keep you right where you are, even though you're not happy. There's a part of you that resists that change. It's easier than growing, shifting, moving to the place you want to be, right? That takes time and effort. That takes an investment in yourself. And so I encourage you to sign up for a free strategy session with me. It's a half-hour phone call where we delve into your specific space challenges, the struggles that you have in relation to your space. And if you're a good fit, we can talk about how I could help you move forward. I only have appointments open this week, and my appointments are limited, so don't wait. Schedule your session today. It can help you inspire a shift in your life for what you're looking for in your life. It can inspire change. It can inspire you to change the habits and the messages and the state of mind you are passing along to your kids. You can change the way you did things in the past, but you can't change the way you did things in the past, right? What messages you pass along to your kids subconsciously without knowing it. But you can take control of the present, which will enable you to better your future outcome for yourself and your family. Signing off, this is Tanea with TPK Feng Shui and Design. I look forward to talking with you.